Well, hello, South Carolina. I am thrilled to be here with you today for our session. This session has been rated PG-13 due to inappropriate student language and behavior to talk to you about all things classroom management, student behavior related. And maybe not all things because we only have an hour, but a few things. If you would take a moment and just drop a little note in the chat and let me know what kind of environment you are teaching in. I have a question for you before we get started. Would it surprise you to learn that 14% of new teachers flee the profession within their first year of teaching? 14%. 33% flee within the first 3 years, and by their 5th year of teaching, we have lost 50% of new teachers. Is that a surprise? Well, I'll tell you who it's not a surprise to. It's not a surprise to me, and I'll tell you why. I left the teaching profession 4 months in. I made every single freaking mistake you can make as a first-year teacher within those first 4 months. Not even kidding you, even a little bit. Another question for you. Go ahead and drop this answer in the chat. Why do you think 14% of teachers leave in the first year, 33% within 3 years, and 50% within 5 years? What's the number one reason that teachers flee this profession? If you said chaos in the classroom, behavior issues, and lack of administrative support, ding, 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 you got the right answer. That is why they left, and that is why I left. I am a perfect, living, walking, talking, breathing example of why teachers flee this profession. We lose, ladies and gentlemen, we lose about 5 to 9 hours a week in traditional settings, 5 to 9 hours a week addressing low-level behaviors. Now that is time we could be spent teaching, but we're spending it talking and making decisions. And we don't have time for that. Middle school teachers, we do not have time for that. We've got a lot of knowledge to get into the heads of our children. So we've got to get a hold of this. Let's talk about our agenda for today. We're going to cover about 3 things here. First, we're going to talk about the matters of the heart. And when I talk about matters of the heart, these are the things that matter. These are 4 things, 4 matters of the heart that we have to address to really get a hold of classroom management in our class and get rid of 90% of low-level behaviors. After we review the matters of the heart, the next thing I want to do is give you the strategies. There are strategies that go with every single matter of the heart that we're going to talk about today. And then we'll do a little wrap up, and hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A, because if we don't build relationships with our students from the very beginning, from the very first day of school, we've lost the battle before we even go to war. They're not going to trust us. They're not going to listen to us. And we are going to be dealing with those pesky little behaviors that suck away our instructional time throughout the course of the year. We get into it. We let these kids push our buttons. It is their job to challenge us. And I'll tell you what, some people get an A++ for that job. They are really good at it. No, our students are as strong as the people who stand before them. And you and I, ladies and gentlemen, we are the people standing before them. We are standing before our students. We have to teach appropriate behavior. We have to teach appropriate behavior. If we don't teach it, they won't learn it, and we'll be dealing with it and interrupting our instruction and losing those 5 to 9 hours every freaking week for the rest of the year. And I'm telling you, there's a reason, middle school teachers, there is a reason that our students come to us without knowing how to behave. There's a reason, and it's not the if-onlys. You want to know what it is? Elementary school teachers. It's elementary school. Listen. Elementary school teachers, what do? They've got the red card and the green card and the yellow card, and the student starts on green because green is good. And then Madeline doesn't want to sit down, and the teacher says to Madeline, you need to sit down. And Madeline sits down, but then Madeline gets up again and says, no, Madeline, I really need you to sit down. And Madeline sits, and then Madeline gets up again. Madeline, I've asked you to sit down. If you don't sit down, you're going to have to pull a card. Madeline, I really don't want you to have to pull a card, but if you continue to get out of your seat, you're going to have to pull. Okay, Madeline, now you're going to have to pull a card. How many choices did we give Madeline before she pulled a card? Too many choices. Now, I understand the psychology. I understand the clips going up and the monkeys going across, but every monkey that moves one time There were 5, 6, 7 requests before that monkey moved. That monkey's supposed to move like this. By the time they get to middle school, we don't have time for that mess. We do not have time for that mess. I understand the psychology. I'm not dissing, I swear I'm not dissing elementary school teachers. I understand why they do what they do. We can't do that. We can't have 15 monkeys. We can't have these clips. We can't have these cards. We can't have multiple requests. We have to honor the choice they make. And then we time it. We got to nip this behavior in the bud, y'all. We got to nip it in the bud. If you can buy into those 4 paradigm shifts with the heart of the matter, then you will completely change the way you discipline in your online classroom or in your physical classroom. I suggest to you that you have little props in your classroom to remind you of these things. Have your favorite Teach To book, How to Teach To Behaviors. Have some kind of timer to remind you that timing matters when dealing with behaviors. Have some boxing gloves or some rock'em sock'em robots or something hanging in your classroom to remind you that conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. And have something in your classroom to remind you that building those relationships with students will set the stage for you to have a very smoothly running classroom built on respect, safety, and security. It has been my absolute pleasure to talk to you today. I do train in schools. Let's be transparent. Let's be real. I would love to work with you as students come back into the classroom. I would love to help you out with that. If you have any questions at all, I'm here to answer them. Bye now. Thank you.